now the exodus out of big states like New Jersey, California, Illinois, New York. It continues. In fact, tonight we are now broadcasting from my new home, the great free state of Florida. Not going back. I'm now a full-time resident in the free state of Florida, something, frankly, I've wanted to do for years.
At 62 years old, Sean Hannity has made a shocking decision that no one saw coming. After decades of being a powerhouse at Fox News, Hannity has suddenly packed his bags and left. Immediately. Was it a personal choice? A network shakeup? Or is there something even bigger going on behind the scenes? From high-profile controversies to behind-the-scenes drama, we're diving deep into why Sean Hannity decided to walk away from Fox News and what this means for the future of conservative media. Stick around, because the truth behind this bombshell exit might just leave you speechless. Sean Hannity's surprising decision. Earlier this year, Sean Hannity, the conservative talk show host, shared on his radio program that he was relocating to Florida. Hannity already owned a home in Palm Beach, which is north of Fort Lauderdale, and not far from the former president's Mar-a-Lago property. On January 2nd, on his radio show, he told his audience that he was broadcasting from his new home, which he called the Free State of Florida. Hannity explained that he moved mainly because he preferred Florida's conservative political environment to that of New York, where his show had been based for many years. He spoke highly of Florida's political leaders, such as Governor Ron DeSantis, Senator Rick Scott, and Senator Marco Rubio, and said he felt at ease in the state's political climate.
So my question to you is, between taxes, bureaucracy, crime, homelessness, and the homeless numbers are not really good.
Hannity bought his Palm Beach townhouse in April 2021 for $5.3 million, which was public knowledge back then. His move to Florida also mirrored a trend of other well-known people in the conservative movement choosing to live in Florida. You might be curious why Sean Hannity decided to move. Well, this is where things become quite interesting. Palm Beach has strict regulations that prevent Hannity from broadcasting his show from his home. An official allegedly confirmed this information to the Palm Beach Daily News. Margaret Zeidman, the leader of the Palm Beach Town Council, stated that the town prohibits businesses from operating out of residential homes. Recent property tax information from Palm Beach County reveals that Sean Hannity has not listed his townhouse as his primary residence. The town enforced this regulation so strictly that even the late Rush Limbaugh, another famous radio host, had to find office space for his radio show after initially broadcasting from his home on the coast. Even though this rule about businesses and homes existed, people believed that Sean Hannity's Palm Beach house was his main home, so they were puzzled about his announcement to move. It appeared he might change his plans until he actually relocated to Florida. Hannity did not specify the exact location of his new Florida residence, but it was clear that he had moved. Once in Florida, the Fox News personality began making significant changes. Less than a year after declaring his departure from New York, Sean Hannity has become a Florida resident, living in a large Florida home. At 62 years old, he opted to live in a waterfront property in Manalapan, which cost him $23.5 million. This expensive neighborhood is in Palm Beach County. The Wall Street Journal reported that Hannity's new house sits on a barrier island with lovely views of both the Atlantic Ocean and the Intracoastal Waterway. The house was last purchased for $18 million in 2021. Since then, it has undergone major improvements, including remodeled bathrooms, new floors, and sturdy sliding windows that can withstand strong impacts. The house sits on almost 2 acres of land and has a large floor plan of nearly 12,000 square feet. Constructed in 1990, it has 8 bedrooms and 10.5 bathrooms, making it ideal for having parties or visitors. In true Florida style, the property includes a swimming pool, a dock with a new seawall, and a nice balcony for enjoying the warm weather and beautiful scenery. The home also has a rooftop viewing deck where Sean can admire the views. Inside, there are wonderful features such as a fireplace, a bar for entertaining people, a room for storing wine, and even an elevator to easily move between floors. The Wall Street Journal reported that the house was initially listed for sale in February for $29 million, but the asking price was lowered to $25.95 million in October. Pictures on the internet display a fashionable home with big windows, a kitchen that has room for eating, and lots of cabinets. Sean Hannity can enjoy views of the water from almost every room, including the living room, dining room, and office. Real estate agents in the area told the Wall Street Journal that the house is in good shape, but some choosy buyers might want to demolish it and build a new house. Earlier this year, Hannity listed his Long Island home for sale at $13.75 million. This property sits on almost 6 acres in Center Island and sold quickly in June for $12.7 million in cash to a buyer who admires Hannity. It turns out that Sean Hannity's move from New York to Florida was not a sudden decision. He had been preparing for the move since 2021. The radio host purchased a large house in Florida, measuring 3,800 square feet, back in 2021 for $5.3 million. He only used it as a vacation home until he made the decision to permanently leave New York in pursuit of his personal concept of freedom. However, it appears that the luxurious house was not large enough for him to feel completely free, so he chose to buy an even larger property in Florida. His latest home is only a half-hour drive from Palm Beach. Currently, everyone is wondering, will Sean Hannity become even more successful in Florida than he was in New York? Sean's impressive journalism career. In 1982, Hannity began his professional life by establishing a house painting company. Soon after, he became a building contractor in Santa Barbara, California. In 1989, while still employed as a contractor, he started his first talk radio program at KCSB-FM, a radio station at the University of California, Santa Barbara. The program aired for a total of 40 hours, but Hannity acknowledged that he was not very skilled at it and believed he performed poorly. Regrettably, his weekly program on KCSB was short-lived, as it was canceled in less than a year because of a disagreement. During a few broadcasts, he spoke about the rights of gay and lesbian individuals in a manner that many people considered to be very intense. This resulted in the university committee that supervised the radio station changing their decision after the Santa Barbara branch of the American Civil Liberties Union backed Hannity, arguing that his freedom of speech rights were being disregarded. However, when the radio station declined to issue a public apology or provide him with additional airtime, he chose not to go back. Following his experience at KCSB, Hannity placed advertisements in radio magazines, describing himself as the most talked-about college radio host in America. This got the notice of WVNN in Athens, Alabama, which gave him a job leading the afternoon talk program. Later, in 1992, he switched to WGST in Atlanta, filling the time slot that Neil Bortz had vacated when he left for a competing station. In September 1996, Roger Ailes, who helped establish Fox News, recruited Hannity to head a new television program, initially titled Hannity and LTBD, with LTBD standing for Liberal to be Determined. Alan Colmes was chosen to co-host, and the program ultimately debuted as Hannity and Colmes. Later that year, Hannity departed WGST and traveled to New York, where he temporarily replaced the afternoon host at WABC during the Christmas week. In January 1997, WABC chose to give Sean Hannity a permanent position at their station, assigning him to the late-night hours. A little more than a year later, they shifted him to the same afternoon time slot he had briefly occupied before. By January 1998, Hannity was officially the host of the afternoon program on WABC. In their 2007 book, Common Ground: How to Stop the Partisan War That Is Destroying America, authors Cal Thomas and Bob Beckel portray Hannity as a leading example of those who generate strong divisions in political broadcasting. They label these individuals as political polarizers, who are firmly dedicated to a particular candidate, culture, or set of beliefs, which clearly distinguishes them from groups with opposing views. Hannity remained at WABC until the end of 2013. From January 2014 onward, he has led the 3 6 now p.m. time slot on WR in New York City.
Yeah, journalism's dead, and also that the mainstream media mob is nothing more than an arm of the extreme, radical, new Socialist Democratic Party.
Hannity's radio program is a conservative talk show where he expresses his viewpoints and opinions on current happenings and political leaders. Over the years, he has been vocal about his belief that mainstream journalism has lost its integrity. He once stated, "Journalism died in 2008, and it influenced a lot of people on the way out." Additionally, he remarked, "Journalism in America is dead. I've been saying it on the air since 2008. These statements reflect his long-standing criticism of what he perceives as biased reporting in mainstream media. The Sean Hannity Show began broadcasting across the nation on September 10, 2001, and is now heard on over 500 stations throughout the country. But there's more. In 2004, he agreed to a 5-year contract extension with ABC Radio for $25 million, guaranteeing that the program would continue until 2009. The program became accessible on the Armed Forces Radio Network in 2006. In June 2007, Citadel Communications acquired ABC Radio. By the summer of 2008, Hannity had signed a remarkable $100 million contract for an additional 5 years. As of March 2018, his program drew in over 13.5 million listeners every week. Hannity was positioned second in Talkers Magazine's 2017 Heavy 100, a list of influential talk radio hosts. He also reached number 72 on Forbes' Celebrity 100 list in 2013. In January 2007, Clear Channel Communications made a significant agreement by extending their arrangement with Sean Hannity for 3 more years, across more than 80 radio stations. Some of the major stations included in this agreement were KTRH in Houston, KFYI in Phoenix, WPGB in Pittsburgh, WKRC in Cincinnati, Wood in Grand Rapids, WFLA in Tampa, WOAI in San Antonio, WWTN in Nashville, and WREC in Memphis. Hannity was also recognized for co-hosting a political program titled Hannity and Colmes on Fox News, where he and Alan Colmes presented their contrasting viewpoints, with Hannity leaning more toward conservative perspectives, while Colmes represented the liberal side. Hannity often expresses traditional viewpoints on politics and social topics. However, he has publicly backed the use of birth control, sparking strong disagreements with guests who oppose it, like Reverend Thomas Uteneuer from Human Life International. Hannity even remarked that if the Catholic Church were to remove him due to his stance on contraception, he would think about becoming a part of Jerry Falwell's Thomas Road Baptist Church. In January 2007, he introduced a new program on Fox News called Hannity's America, airing on Sunday nights. Later, in November 2008, Colmes opted to depart Hannity and Colmes. Following the broadcast of the concluding episode on January 9, 2009, Hannity took control of the time slot with his own program, simply titled Hannity, which had a design resembling his previous Sunday night program. Over his career, Sean Hannity has authored 4 books. His initial 2 books, Let Freedom Ring, Winning the War of Liberty Over Liberalism, released in 2002, and Deliver Us from Evil, Defeating Terrorism, Despotism, and Liberalism, issued in 2004 by Regan Books. Both achieved a position on the New York Times nonfiction bestseller list. Remarkably, the second book remained on that list for 5 weeks. Hannity has indicated that he lacks sufficient time to write, so he frequently records his ideas for his books while commuting to his radio program. His third book, Conservative Victory, Defeating Obama's Radical Agenda, hit shelves in March 2010, thanks to HarperCollins Publishers. It also earned a spot on the New York Times bestseller list. In the meantime, from 2003 to 2010, he put together Freedom Concerts. These events centered around country music and aimed to gather money for charitable causes. But that wasn't the end of the story. Just as his career reached new heights in 2010, a conservative blogger named Debbie Schlussel pointed out that only a tiny bit of the money from these concerts actually made it to the Freedom Alliance, the charity it was meant for. That same year, the Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington went to both the Federal Trade Commission, FTC, and the Internal Revenue Service, IRS, with complaints. The FTC's complaint stated that Hannity was misleading folks by saying that all the concert profits would go towards scholarships for kids of military members who were slain or hurt.
It's been 12 days, and Sean Hannity still hasn't answered the questions about possible fraud and misuse of funds from his charity. Now, he may have to answer to the IRS and the Federal Trade Commission.
At the same time, the IRS complaint stated that Freedom Alliance had not followed the rules for charities. The concert stopped happening around that period. Hannity has briefly appeared in some movies and TV programs. He provided a short voiceover in the film The Siege, portraying an unseen reporter. He also appeared as himself in Atlas Shrugged, Part 2, and the second season of House of Cards. In 2017, he served as an executive producer and acted in the movie Let There Be Light, which features Kevin Sorbo alongside him. By April 2018, Sean Hannity had amassed a large collection of real estate, allegedly owning at least 877 residences that he purchased for nearly $89 million. Some of these properties were obtained using loans from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, and many of them are situated in areas where working-class people live. His method of managing these properties has been quite forceful, resulting in a much greater number of evictions than is typical. Articles in the Washington Post suggest that his property management team has employed eviction procedures not only to remove renters, but also as a means of generating income. Even though Hannity has a financial interest in over 1,000 properties, the people who manage his properties have said that he does not directly participate in overseeing them. One could say that Sean Hannity's opinions are just as well known as his appearances on Fox News, and those opinions might influence his position at the news network as we begin the new year. Why Sean Hannity has been called out. The Washington Post has criticized Hannity for frequently focusing on stories that prove to be inaccurate and for altering his viewpoints over time. The New York Times has highlighted that he delves into a perplexing combination of opinions and conspiracy theories. Although he does not directly endorse these theories in the same manner as Alex Jones, he nonetheless discusses them in a way that maintains his audience's enthusiasm and belief in them. This tactic provides him with a means of avoiding accountability for the more outlandish ideas he disseminates. As highlighted by the New York Times, The New Yorker even stated in 2019 that Hannity has been disseminating baseless conspiracy theories without encountering any repercussions. During George W. Bush's presidency, Hannity was a staunch defender of the president's choices. When Barack Obama became president, Hannity shifted his attention to stories he believed the liberal media was overlooking, such as doubts about Obama's place of birth and the responsibility for the Benghazi attack.
Breaking developments regarding the investigation into the September 11th assault that took the lives of 4 Americans, including U.S. Ambassador Christopher Stevens. Now, this news is emerging in large part thanks to these 3 men, collectively known as the Benghazi whistleblowers.
In 2017, the Washington Post noticed that Hannity's primary attention had turned to backing the former president, particularly in the period leading up to that point. It seems his very public support for the former president yielded results after the former president won the recent presidential election. However, you might question if his strong positions could somehow impact his role at Fox News. Well, that might not occur unless there is widespread attention for a controversial or questionable action he takes that compels Fox News to dismiss him, similar to their handling of Tucker Carlson. Sean Hannity has encountered substantial criticism for being overly supportive of the former president during the 2016 presidential primaries, frequently granting him more airtime compared to other contenders. For instance, Hannity permitted the former president to disseminate the untrue notion that Rafael Cruz, the father of Ted Cruz, was somehow linked to the assassination of John F. Kennedy. Although Sean Hannity has admitted that he favors Republican candidates, he has not explicitly declared that he prefers the former president over Cruz. According to Dylan Byers from CNN during interviews, Hannity frequently emphasizes where he aligns with the former president or believes the former president is correct, and he has a tendency to disregard or defend the former president when he faces disapproval. The connection between Cruz and Hannity grew quite strained during a heated radio interview in April 2016, where Cruz implied that Hannity was a strong advocate for the former president. In August 2016, Jim Rutenberg observed that Hannity was not merely a major supporter of the former president in the media, but also functioned like a consultant, mentioning that Hannity had been providing the former president with guidance on campaign tactics for months. Hannity openly admitted that he wanted Trump to win the presidency, and emphasized that he did not see himself as a traditional journalist. In December 2017, he clarified his role further by calling himself an advocacy or opinion journalist. Back in 2016, he even appeared in a campaign advertisement supporting Trump. Hannity has also clashed with other conservatives who do not back Trump, including Jonah Goldberg from National Review and Bret Stephens from The Wall Street Journal. Although he continues to work as a journalist on Fox News, many believe his time there might be coming to an end. Sean Hannity leaving Fox News? Initially, following Fox News' dismissal of Tucker Carlson, people believed that Sean Hannity would be granted Tucker's prominent position within the network. This occurred immediately after a report asserted that Sean Hannity would assume the highly sought-after 8 p.m. time slot, following the unexpected exit of the network's most popular personality. However, when the network formally revealed who would occupy the position, Sean Hannity's name was absent from the list, thus concluding the speculation. This caused many to believe that the network does not truly view him as favorably as the public had presumed. As you are aware, in the business world, if the company does not promptly consider you for the top positions, they do not truly appreciate your contributions and believe they can dismiss you at any moment. Rather than Sean Hannity, Fox News selected Jesse Watters for Tucker Carlson's role. The second factor leading many to believe that Sean Hannity might soon declare his exit from Fox News, or even worse, be terminated from the network, is none other than accusations of harassment. Tucker Carlson is confronting a major defamation lawsuit from Dominion Voting Systems, but there's additional trouble. He has also been sued for allegedly establishing a hostile and prejudiced work setting for a former employee. Currently, Sean Hannity might be the next focus of attention, particularly because he has a past record of making doubtful remarks about harassment. Back in 2016, Hannity was very outspoken in defending Roger Ailes when several women accused him of improper harassment. Following Ailes' passing in May 2017, Hannity honored him, stating, "Today America lost one of its great patriotic warriors. He has dramatically and forever changed the political and the media landscape single-handedly for the better." He also described Ailes as like a second father, and warned Ailes' detractors that he would be prepared to challenge them in the afterlife. In April 2017, Hannity also supported Bill Shine, a co-president at Fox News, when there were rumors about his job being at risk. One Shine faced numerous lawsuits asserting that he disregarded or even assisted in concealing Ailes' alleged harassment. Moreover, there was an additional lawsuit in which Hannity was accused of belittling a female guest on his program, and even offering money to anyone who would go on a date with her. However, the guest, conservative commentator Debbie Schlussel, later clarified that she did not consider the incident to be sexual harassment, stating, "I never thought I was sexually harassed by Sean Hannity. I thought he was weird and creepy, not someone I liked." Hannity, however, denied these allegations, stating, "Let me be clear, the comments about me on a radio show this week by this individual are 100% false and a complete fabrication." Later, in September 2017, after Bill O'Reilly was dismissed from Fox News due to improper harassment accusations, Hannity welcomed him onto his program, which attracted disapproval from some Fox News personnel. During the interview, O'Reilly censured liberal media organizations, and Hannity appeared to empathize with him, sensing that both of them were being singled out by those who wished to suppress their viewpoints. Then, in October of that year, Hannity received significant negative responses when he criticized Democrats after numerous women made allegations against Harvey Weinstein, a Hollywood producer who had backed Democratic initiatives. People emphasized that just a few weeks earlier, Hannity had defended his colleague Bill O'Reilly, who was discharged because of several improper harassment accusations against him. Given these transgressions, people think it's just a matter of time before Sean Hannity goes beyond just words and acts on these inappropriate comments. If this happens, Fox News might fire him. So, what do you think about Sean Hannity's shocking departure from Fox News? Do you believe he left on his own terms, or was there something bigger going on behind the scenes? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear what you think. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss our latest updates on the biggest news in media and politics. And before you go, check out one of these 2 videos on your screen. You won't want to miss them.